It was about 2013. I was at the time working in Murfreesboro, traveling on my commutes, and I would listen to this Christian radio station, and there was this advertisement saying about CASA and how they're needing volunteers to be a part of their organization. It took me about a year to commit because I knew that I wanted to give 110% of my time, and my profession at the time required me to do a lot of traveling. And so one day in 2014, I never forget this, it came on again, and I went immediately into the office, went to my boss and says, hey, I want to let you know something. I says, I've been asking myself for a whole year if this is something for me, and I says, I received that affirmation today, and I want to know if this is something you're willing to support me on doing, because it's going to require me to be out of work sometimes for training and for advocating for the children. And he immediately says, go for it. You know, of course, anytime you're entering into a new field or a new industry or doing something totally outside of your comfort zone, but you know that you can add value and have an impact on someone or an individual, there's some reservation that's there. There's a lot of nerves. But what I love about CASA is that we're teamed up with a CASA volunteer, a CASA supervisor, and that supervisor helps us along the way. But we also have a community too as well, because there's other volunteers that may have more experience or may have dealt with a certain situation that we're able to reach out to as a resource. And so in the beginning it was a little nervous, but here I am 6 years later, and just to see the impact that just a volunteer, I don't possess any type of legal experience, I don't have a degree in a Juris Doctorate, a JD. What I have is basically a heart of compassion and the willingness to change a story for a child or for this individual, and it's been very rewarding up to this point. I have to say the very first case that I received was a teenager, and this was an individual who unfortunately did not really know what she wanted to do with her life, but no one ever guided her, given her, or believed in her and said, you can do anything. And so I decided to basically take her to different college campuses here locally to kind of give her that experience and that exposure to that. And after those tours of those campuses, of those universities, she in return and says, you know what, I can see myself being in college and doing better for myself. And so that's exactly what did. She ended up going to Volunteer State. Is where she began there, and then she transferred over to MTSU, and she has her college degree. A lot of times we as individuals may assume that a parent has the resources or has the foundation to be an effective parent, but a lot of times they may not have that. Therefore, it impacts how they raise their children or how they respond to a situation. And so what it's important for CASA to do is not only advocate for the children and to reunify them with the family, but it's also important that we help that parent receive the resources that they need.